Hey guys, this is Katie Shaw. They still came back the next time.
Don't know.
I think that's going to be my intro from now on. Like, hey, you're back. Thank you so much. But Katie Shaw here, and you are?
Rebecca Booth.
And we are K Speaks, the podcast that's talking about stuff that just isn't talking about. And we're being for reals with y'all. So,
Is that
today.
EEZE?
I don't know something. I don't know. It's just coming out of my mouth. I don't
Okay.
know. Today we decided to do a continuation about
ADHD 2.0.
Ooh, we're doing 2.0.
guess.
Oh, I like that. I
Sure.
just thought it was like ADHD part 2. Part do or do true?
Just.
Oh, okay. Well, she's taking it over, and so that's probably like good. So, but we decided there's just a lot to review with this diagnosis, a lot of myths, a lot of things that we see, a lot of things that still have a stigma, a lot of things that I think just are not recognized. I see it from a lot of different standpoints. I have family members that have this diagnosis, and then I see it from a therapist point of view as well. So, but I will let Miss Rebecca take it away.
Okay. So, I don't know if I said this last time, but I'm a late in life diagnosed ADHDer. I went to school in the 80s. God, that was so because I was a female, like my inattentiveness was not picked up on because I was not a boy causing problems in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could stick me in a corner with a book and I was happy. But I that's another point.
I still think that's the thing now is that boys are still.
Oh yeah. I've had lots of clients who are like, yeah, my doctor said I don't have ADHD because I'm not hyperactive. Okay.
And I think also gender, that the boys are still the ones that are being kind of picked out, I guess.
Yes.
I don't know how else to explain that.
They're more on the radar
Yeah.
for getting diagnosed and getting assessed.
I do not have as many girls coming through or being referred.
It's because it looks like different things.
Yeah.
Which is my next point.
Yes.
So, I briefly mentioned last our first ADHD taping that ADHD can look like a lot of things like anxiety, depression, OCD, PTSD, autism spectrum disorder. Like they're all kind of like BFFs running down the beach holding hands, like splashing in the waves. So I don't know. Sometimes I'll have to get hold of Katie and like suss it out. Like, what do you think? Anyway, neither here nor there. But I do want to say is that if your child is diagnosed, so sometimes, like Katie and I were talking about, boys are often diagnosed first because they're hyperactive and loud and disruptive. And the teachers are like, we have 50 students in this classroom, we can't do it. But that's another problem for another day. So, blah, 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 so on and so forth. I lost my thread.
Oh. Well, so something that I've particularly done, I guess, since doing the private practice this last year is, especially with little kiddos, I always call it like going old school, but I do not rush to do a diagnosis of ADHD. No. I do not do really a rush in doing anything else. When I have little kiddos, especially that are really struggling with behaviors within the home and in school, I really like to kind of tweeze it out. So I really like to analyze it. Even if it's just a diagnostic. So what, like I was noting in the one podcast, the first time that someone comes to see me, and if it's only to be assessed for diagnosis, I still don't rush to do that diagnosis of like ADHD or anything like that. And I will, discuss that with the family. I will say, I just don't know about this and I don't like rushing into this. And many people do understand that. So I might say I'd like to kind of maybe see him a few more times. I would like to have you fill out a few other things that ask questions that maybe I just wasn't thinking at the time of assessment with the child. So I really like to take my time because there is a lot of sensory seeking needs that might be going on. Sometimes I really look at environment. I do a lot of environment looking. So, classroom, a lot going on, and there's loud noises, and, so what's all kind of contributing to things. So, I end up seeing a lot of little kiddos have a lot of sensory needs, a lot of neurodivergent, which kind of wraps into ADHD, but it doesn't end up being a diagnosis.
Right.
But
So, ADHD often co-occurs with, like I said, anxiety, depression, oppositional defiancy disorder. I don't know, about 10 years ago, a lot of doctors were automatically just giving mostly boys the diagnosis of ODD along with ADHD. And I think that has decreased some, but it's still prevalent. Um, So I just want to note that if your child is diagnosed first with a learning disorder like dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, auditory processing disorder, sensory, language, visual, please, 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 please push to get tested for ADHD or autism spectrum disorder because like 80% of the time that is there as well. And then treatment for ADHD, I touched on this a little bit, is medication and therapy. You can be non-stimulant or a stimulant medication. Unfortunately, the non-stimulant medication is not as effective as stimulant medication. And then like parents and people get all pearl clutchy about their child taking stimulant medication. But ADHD, we have a severe dopamine, like, I can't think of the word. We don't make enough dopamine. So the stimulant medication kind of boosts that chemical going up. I have words. I'm struggling today.
well, I think that also the struggle is for one, medication availability.
Oh my God.
For
Don't get me
two,
started.
if finding a doctor that is on the same page with you,
Oh God, yes.
finding a medication that is going to work for you.
And that your insurance will cover.
Yes. I think those are huge problems that a lot of people run into. More recently, I think we have touched about this in maybe on the first one. There's a shortage of meds right now
Yeah.
that are stimulants. And so people run out of their meds and have to go days, weeks without their meds. And then, I mean, that's not good. That's not good. So,
The longest I've gone is 3 weeks without it, and good God,
yeah,
I feel bad for everybody around me.
that messes with you. And that also messes with your executive functioning.
Yes.
So try working, try going, if you were a little kiddo, try sitting still. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not good.
Yeah.
So there's many other factors involved in that.
Yeah.
And also I understand due to substance abuse.
Oh, that's on here.
Yeah. So you have to go through a lot at the pharmacy. And the doctor also has to, there's certain things that if you get a prescription, we're both having words today. that there's laws that have been put into place, and I think it does depend state by state.
It is.
But due to meth, specifically meth that has used stimulants, um, such as the ADHD medications, there have been certain policies and laws put into place. So it makes it even more difficult for clients and people that use that medication for the right way to get them.
Yeah.
But it's understandable as to why. So it has cut down a lot.
Yes. But if you find if you choose to go with stimulant medication, if you find the right one, it really does help with attention, concentration, motivation, thinking. I'm off today, but that's fine. It's neither here nor there. A lot of parents want to give their kids med breaks in the summertime or on school holidays because of various reasons. Unless there's like a compelling reason for your child to be off, like they're not gaining a whole bunch of weight, they're very picky eaters on top of being a picky eater, there's no sound evidence stating that giving your child a med break is helpful. In fact, if you interrupt that process, it does more harm than it does good. And then on top of that, you as the parent have to be prepared to deal with your child's behaviors, and you can't get mad at your child for having behaviors because they're not on their meds, because they can't control themselves, focus, think ahead, and do all those things.
Yeah. So my experience for my family member is that schedule is very, very important.
Yeah.
So with their specific way that they are, I mean, there's nothing wrong. We have to make sure that we do certain things at certain times throughout the day. And maintaining the medication is part of that. Also, keeping on top of eating is part of that. So, we make sure that we don't do any breaks with medication just because it would not be good for my particular family member. And we have to keep track of like meal times because a lot of times with this particular family member, they will hyper focus on something. So they'll be so engaged in something that their hungry tummy will not disrupt them enough, and the signals from hungry tummy to brain will not register as much that they will stop and say, oh man, I'm really hungry. And that they'll come and say, I'm really, really hungry. It's lunchtime. And that they'll be able to keep track of that. So it's responsibility of other family that we will prompt this family member and have to have them stop and have them eat. Because if not, we will get behind. And so that family member will then be overly hungry, and then they will struggle. And so we have to kind of keep ahead of the swing per se. So we have to, right around the meal times, we have to, ask them, prepare them, prompt, and have them stop and eat before it gets like, I'm starving. And with kids, when they are hungry, tired, thirsty, like if you're a parent out there or caretaker, then it's like flailing around on the floor and no consoling type of stuff. So we just have to kind of keep ahead of that. So medication is part of that because of the timing of the release, also of some of the stimulants.
And a lot of parents are like, oh, they're not in school, they don't need to think and focus. But that doesn't mean a child's social behavior and emotions stop developing during the summer. That child still has to get along with like coaches, siblings, family members. If they're in day camps or overnight camps, like you're just doing your child a complete disservice.
And I understand that some people just would not be able to do this because of various barriers. but my particular family member and kids just in general strive on schedule. So we have been fortunate to keep my family member in a situation. It's a type of center that is very structured like a school would be. And just this particular family member strives in that. And so it's just almost kind of like a year round school's structure. And it also is kind of very similar to what a school day would be. So again, during the summertime, they thrive on that. They don't do well with just open downtime. So having that kind of structure, even if it's like centers, snack, this, lunch, that's what they're able to function well at. And I understand that a lot of people just are not able to do that. There's a lot of barriers.
Yeah.
Even if you could, in a situation, if they're at home, being able to create some kind of structure. So around at 10 o'clock, if you could do snack, then at noon, do lunch, if you're able to do something similar.
Um, I talked about this briefly. Some critics of ADHD medications suggest that kids who take stimulants are more likely to abuse drugs or alcohol later in life. There's no evidence showing that kids who take stimulants will make kids do drugs. The flip side, though, as an adult, due to the impulsivity, there is a chance for an adult ADHD person to have an addiction, but that's due to the impulsivity. So therapy, I'm a therapist. Therapy can help with self-regulation, organization, problem solving, procrastination, focus, work through the shame and guilt that comes along with ADHD and the internal messages that we have, and what we've been told all our lives, like, why can't you get it together? What's wrong with you? You just have to try harder. Just use a planner. Like, we will not talk about my graveyard of planners. Like, I'll have to take a picture. It's stupid. There's just different hacks.
You could build a plant stand or a bookshelf. DIY it.
And I just do want to make a side note that there's this therapy called neurofeedback or biofeedback. It's been around for 40 years, but it's up and coming now. I just want to say that there's not a lot of evidence showing that it's an effective treatment of ADHD. It's very, very expensive. It hasn't been FDA approved. And basically, they just stick electrodes to your head and they hook you up to a machine, and you have to they try to retrain your brain with visual and noise to redo the connection. There's just not enough science. So if you have somebody trying to peddle that to you, just do your research. Mm-hmm. Just my little plug. So some tips and tricks. Oh my God, this fly. I should have brought my dog. Some tips and tricks to help with ADHD. Body doubling. So if I'm behind on stuff, sometimes I go to focusmate.com and I'll log on and I connect with somebody over the internet and we're just doing things. Or I'll connect with Katie and be like, listen, I got to get some things done that I don't want to do. And so the Promoto technique is doing 20 minutes of work with a 10-minute break, but you have to use the timers and you have to, that really helps as well. Externalize. What?
But then probably setting the timers.
Well, I mean, you can have it set up you can have as many as you want. Okay. I strongly suggest externalize. Have clocks in every room. Set it up so your clock, oh my God. So your phone or watch will beep every half hour to help you keep track of time, because time is weird for us. Time super sucks. Zero concept of time. We try, but zero concept of time. write things down. As much as we want to type it, we're not going to remember it. And it's going to just sit in our graveyard of notes on our phone that we're never going to look at again. We won't talk about mine. It's fine. Um, let's see. Oh, dry erase boards. This is an ADHD moment. Post-it notes.
I was gonna say chalkboard. Oh, way
No,
off.
God. Ew. No, post-it notes. Having post-it notes. Just to help with things. Give yourself more time than what you think it's going to take. So, like, I live 10 minutes from Iowa City. I always do 15. Even though I'm like, I can do it in 7. Because that one time 5 years ago, I made it to Iowa City in 7 minutes. No, no, no. Learn to say no. That's a hard one. Set aside time to organize your workspace. So, like, when I'm done for the day, I just kind of take my 5,000 water bottles and I take care of them at the end of my workday, kind of clean up my space. You can color code things, like have a basket dealio with like different shelves to color code of what can go where. Check for understanding. Like I do this with Katie all the time. Like she'll tell me something and I'm like, so this, I heard you say this. And like she has never once gotten mad at me for checking for understanding because she knows
I
that's
think
what I
it's
need.
I think it's great whether if you have whatever you I mean, it's just good for clarification and
Right.
make sure that you're on the same page. So I think it's great no matter. And so and there's been times where I've said no, it's this and so we've been able to problem solve and make sure that we are on the same page. So, nope, I think it's great.
Yeah. Move around as much as you can. Like, if you're on a phone call, pace. They're not going to hear you pacing unless you're wearing high heels on a hardwood floor. Then, whatever. Sing, fidget. I sing while I'm cooking. I make stupid songs up. It's pretty funny. Unfortunately, the doctors are right that we need to have good, like, stupid habits like sleep, eating, exercise. It's dumb, but it works. So I don't like to use the E word. I call it purposeful movement.
There you go.
If it's just a once around the block, have at it. Like it just gets things flowing. And then you just feel good. I hate it when doctors are right. Stupid. Break things down into smaller tasks. This one helps a lot for me. I wish I would have done that in grad school instead of just being like, I can do this paper in one day. No, I can't. Yes. So instead of telling your child, go clean your room, have them be like, all right, focus on the bookshelf. Like, let's clean that up, tidy it up. And then when you're done, come back to me. And then you're like, all right, hang up all your t-shirts. Just break it down. I know you're going to want to stab your eyes out, but it's so helpful than telling your child and shoving them in a room because they're going to melt. They're just going to have a meltdown because they're overwhelmed.
Yes.
Yeah. And like, I know it's annoying. Been there, done that. Have the shirt, but it'll just make the day easier for everybody if you just break it down for them, or even make a checklist that they can, if they're once they're old enough, that they can,
Yep.
dry erase, check it off. And if they need to use Promoto to get through cleaning the room, so 20 minutes of work, 10-minute break, let them do it. There's no harm in it. They're like not hurting anybody. That also makes me want to stab my eyes out. A lot of stabbing. Changing the work environment. So going to the library, coffee shop to work. Obviously, we can't do therapy sessions in
No.
a coffee shop. But if I need to get notes done, I could go to a coffee shop
Yes.
and
I think it's that mindset.
Yeah.
So, like, if therapists, if they work primarily from home, but there might be like an office, a lot of therapists would come in and do like their notes at the office because there's just kind of that mindset, kind of like, okay, like school, like you get, come in and do your work, type of thing. So,
But that's hard for me because I'm distracted because everybody's coming in to talk to me. And I'm like, I got to get my things done. I really want to talk to you, but I got to get my things done.
right. So, it just depends.
Yeah. So minimize distractions as much as you can. Get everything ready before you sit down to work. Get your water, go to the bathroom, get a snack, get your power cords, get books, music ready, headphones, put your phone on do not disturb, and get everything ready before you do that. Otherwise, you'll be getting ready for 5 hours. Um, Create a chore file. So, like Mondays are bathroom days, Tuesdays is dusting, whatever works for you, man. Habit stacking. So I love habit stacking. It's like my best friend. It's you when you already have a habit that you do. So like for me, feeding the dogs, they won't leave me alone unless I feed them. But once they are inside and I'm still standing, I will go and take a shower right away at the end of the day. Otherwise, I will put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off because I'm already standing. Once I sit, I'm done. So you can do that for your kid. A habit stack. It's great. Prep what you can the night before: lunch, backpack, purse, bag, shoes by the door, keys in your shoes, sticky notes up, etc., so on and so forth.
I think like an important thing is I talk to a lot of people about make things realistic instead of like, oh, I need to clean the whole house. Okay,
Yeah, break
so
it down.
what can you do breaking it down? Because a lot of people will struggle with, oh, but I got nothing done. Because thinking of the whole entire house is tremendously overwhelming. And then you're just kind of shut down then.
Yeah.
And then you beat yourself up because you didn't get anything done.
Right.
So break up things. I've even suggested, well, you have to go to the bathroom how many times? So one of the times you're in the bathroom might down the sink. And by the time the end of the day, because of how many times you have to go to the bathroom, bam, you got the bathroom clean.
Right. A thing I like to do is every time I walk in my bedroom, I put away 5 pieces of laundry. I hate putting away laundry, but putting away 5 pieces every time I walk in my bedroom when I work from home, that's a lot. So that's very helpful.
And the more people you add, the more laundry you have to put away.
I know. I'm just a one and doneer. Like he's done, did, flown the nest.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say. That's okay. It'll come back to me. Myths. These really put a bee in my bonnet. Makes me so freaking mad. It's not a real condition, Katie.
Oh my.
You're just making it up so you don't have to do anything.
It's an excuse.
It's an excuse. If you just get a planner,
Get more organized.
get more organized. Get your poop in a group. No. It's a serious disorder that negatively impacts all aspects of life, and it super sucks. The next myth: it's only a problem in childhood. You'll outgrow it as an adult. The hyperactiveness, if you are ADHD hyperactive, as you get older, it internalizes and it becomes you're more inattentive, and your brain's just going 20,000 miles an hour.
Yep, I can attest to this. I have a family member that is an older adult now and has had it diagnosed childhood. So talks about, yep, when I was a child, it was this, and has completely different symptoms now. So, but he's just been able to learn how to control and handle things, but now he has different challenges as an adult.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's caused by poor parenting. Do you know how many times I heard that when my kid was first diagnosed? We will not discuss it. I was so mad. I was gonna throat punch everybody. Yeah, and anyway, it's not. There's no evidence that it's caused by poor parenting. Let's see. A lot of people say you take meds to clean the house. No, actually, after I take my meds, I generally fall asleep. To no fault of my own. You're lazy. You need to try harder. Get it together. People with ADHD exert more energy and effort into activities to appear normal, to appear neurotypical, because it takes more energy and effort to do the things that neurotypicals can do with no issues. So the internal messaging of you're lazy, that's a whole nother thing. It's just what you've been told your whole life. but it's not true. It's just your brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I did it. I
You
finished
got
it.
through it.
I got it
through it.
done. Thanks for listening to my rant.
No, it's fine.
A lot of throat punching.
Again, we just felt that there was a lot more to kind of cover and go over. So, as always, we really appreciate you tuning in and listening. And again, two therapists kind of muffling through this podcast stuff, but we really hope that you can take away something from these podcasts. And even if you can pass it on to the next person, we're advocating for things to be talked about that, again, are not being talked about and being for reals.
Yeah. And if you have questions, you can always reach out to us. The information will be in the comment section.
Yep. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.